The most electric editions of Question Time are those where two rival panellists allow their political or sometimes their personal antipathy to show through.
If you could find billions for war, find billions for peace and justice. That's what's important.
Arithmetic was never John's strong point. He hasn't heard. He hasn't. I resign, John. You're very unlikely ever to get a job, aren't you? But let's just put a little fact in front of him, because he always finds them embarrassing. The war cost 1.5 billion, and the contributions from overseas are 1.4 billion. So all these billions that are being spent on war only exist in your over-fevered imagination.
The hospital wards. The hospital wards. Tell us about the hospital wards. Keep them open.
Well, I'll come back to you.
We have a health service on which we're spending more money than any Labour government ever dreamt of spending. It's time, John, you allowed your prejudices to take a back seat and looked at a few facts occasionally, if you could understand them.
No wonder you got sacked.
I didn't get sacked.
Tabloid business is a dying industry. They sell a million less papers than they did 10 years ago. The Daily Mirror is dying even faster than other papers. It's 24% down on sales.
You're dying on your feet, mate. I'd back in if I were you.
They have tried to... Newspapers have tried... The tabloids have tried to blame the Queen for the Paul Burrell fiasco, and it was clearly
Sorry, David, I've had enough of this rubbish. Listen...
Well, why don't you leave the room?
I'll tell you what I'd love... I never leave my adoring fans.
When you made the decision that it was right to be non-unilateralist, having been unilateralist all these years, when you made the decision to be a good European, having not been a good European, the decision to give up nationalising, having always been a nationaliser, when you made the decision to do devolution for Scotland, having always been against it, was that on high moral grounds? Or was it because you wanted the votes? And I'm surprised to find how much I'm in agreement with Arthur Scargill. He is a genuine old socialist. He knows what a socialist is. You don't know what a socialist is.
Let him answer you. I don't know why I've provoked so much aggression on behalf of a liberal peeress, but let me deal with two of the points.
It's a woman peer.
All right, a woman peer. We will deal with two of the points of alleged inconsistency which were alleged at me. Apparently, I've been anti-devolution and have suddenly become devolution.
Well, your party has.
I was actually the minister who carried through the devolution legislation in the last Labour government.
You have...
I was supposed to... What would you allow me to answer, please? You're not in the House of Lords now. You're in a place where you have to listen to other people.
Speaking as Vice Chairman of Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge, and also currently as wife of the hospital orderly at North Sea Camp Prison, I think I see the health service in the round.
Oh, yes, of course, those two examples.
The need for...
That would cover it.
The need...
I was slightly surprised Mary Archer had agreed to go on a panel with me anyway. But when it came to it, I think she just thought everybody, and that included me, would be too polite to mention the fact that their husband had been involved in a number of extremely sleazy affairs during his time.
I think people have a memory of the major years sleaze being absolutely fantastic, you know, top-rate sleaze. There were liars, obviously. There was perjurers. We had Jonathan Aitken and Geoffrey. And, you know, that's sleaze. Anything contentious there?
Like to take another free kick while you're at it?
Well, this is a public programme, and you've appeared on the panel. And I think you're most famous for being Geoffrey's wife. The Prime Minister, his first response, when everyone says you're sleazy, he says, look at all the Tories there in jail. Your husband is the reason that Tony Blair gets away with it in Parliament. That, I think, we have to take into consideration.
She was jolly angry with me. And I had a harangue afterwards, saying that, you know, I'd been incredibly rude and she'd done nothing to merit that sort of treatment. And then, in the end, she said, well, you know... what do you think I should do? And I said, stay at home.
find it quite extraordinary that a politician of Mr. Heath's experience should be so ready to find life with Saddam Hussein tolerable.
I'm not saying that for one moment. Having met President Saddam Hussein, which you haven't done, I know perfectly well what he's like. All you've done is sit in your office and demand a war every day since August the 2nd.
What do you believe
let me finish.
meeting Saddam Hussein has taught you about him that the rest of us don't know?
A great deal. And it really is disgraceful you should make such an accusation in public like this.
It's true. You're taking it down to 14, and that would really worry me. I'd be firmer on 18 and leave it there.
When I listen to Geoffrey preaching the eternal compromise of 18, yes, I think of the remark that I make to my students. Why do Englishmen like sitting on the fence so much? Because they enjoy the sensation, Geoffrey. There is no grounds in reason or logic or justice for 18.
I enjoyed the very clever way you got a laugh, David. I'm bound to say to you, I was not sitting on the fence and I was not compromising. 18 is what I feel, and 18 is what I believe. And you don't have the right to doubt my beliefs and think just because you're an expert in this subject, I don't have the right to say what I feel or get a cheap laugh out of it. I stand by 18 and I mean
it. What he is saying to me is that I would have been right to have stayed and spoken in favour of policies coming out of Europe, destroying NATO, massive nationalisation, destruction of any private education, any private health service, moving towards a semi-East European state. That would have been all right within the tabernacle of the Labour Party.
I mean, I'll be blunt with you, Roy. You talk about cancer. I feel very strongly about people whose entire life depends on the working class movement. Your father was a miner. He was in jail in the general strike. You got into Parliament as a Labour member. Every office you held was because of the Labour Party. Cabinet Minister, appointed by a Labour Prime Minister, and then you left the party. Now, that's a cancerous growth. Not personally, but I think people who betray those who gave them power are the real threat. And I must say that bluntly to you, because I think that needs to be said. Now, having said that,
you think you're promising to ask Derek Hatton being leader of the Labour
I'm not.
Party?
I'm only saying, Roy, that the people that stay true to those who put them in power, these are the people I admire, not the people who climb into power on the backs of others, kick away the ladder, and are presented by everybody as men of principle and moderate.
Why is it always millionaires like yourself get uptight about £2 an hour for people on minimum wage? Why do you always have to do that?
I'll tell you. Because I know something about actually creating jobs as opposed to just talking about it.
You've obviously done a lot better than your workers have.
Yes, but in fact created a large number of jobs in the process.
Not at £2 an hour.
Now, you just tell the people in this country...
Is £2 an hour acceptable to you?
You know perfectly well that what you're talking about is £4 and 8p an hour as the minimum wage.
Is £2 an hour acceptable to you as a very wealthy man?
It is nothing to do with me being a wealthy man. Well, what you're trying
is it acceptable £2 an hour?
It is entirely a matter of what people are prepared to accept in the circumstances of getting a job.
And sometimes even the chairman gets dragged in.
Why did the Conservatives support the accession of the 10 countries? Those countries can feel let down because now you're getting scared of the natural consequence of these being full members. I say to you, I've got nothing to fear.
Please, I know, but don't speak while he's speaking, because nobody can hear anybody. You always tell other people... You always tell other people...
No, just now, when Shirley had finished, you told me not to interrupt, and she finished.
You always tell people...
I just jumped in while I got the opportunity. Transitional period, if you want transitional.
You won't win this one because I'm chairing the programme.
Oh, I know.
And you won't win if you could speak when other people aren't speaking and not interrupt those who are. Then the same courtesy may be extended to you.